flexing her.
So you want to build a fat dumpy. These are 3 common mistakes we see with glute training. The first one in the hip thrust is that people overextend at lockout and then lose tension on the glutes. In an attempt to find more range, people end up going too far in their hip thrust and just end up arching through the lower back. We want to finish with the glutes and not the lower back. The cue that we like to use to fix this issue is bring your belt buckle up to your chin rather than drive your hips up to the sky. We see the belt buckle to the chin actually shorten the glutes fully rather than finding that range of motion through the lower back. So now that we know what to do with the pelvis, we need to think about what we're doing with the feet. A big issue we see is that people push through the balls of their feet and almost feel like they're getting the hip thrust in their quads. What we want to do instead is think about dragging the heels back and pulling rather than pushing through the toes. This will help us further tilt the pelvis underneath and further shorten the glutes and hopefully alleviating some of that tension that you shouldn't feel on your quads. To fully shorten the glutes, we need to try and tuck the pelvis underneath us. You may have heard of this being called posterior pelvic tilt. We like to think of it as bringing the belt buckle up to the chin. We imagine we've got a belt on, belt buckle's here. We want to try and bring that up and that'll hopefully get us to fully shorten the glutes. So we want to think of this tucking motion rather than bringing the hips up to the sky. So what we commonly see is that extension or that up phase ends up coming through the lower back. So if you've ever felt your lower back through a hip thrust, it's because the muscles of the lower back are being shortened rather than the muscles of the glutes being shortened with that tucking motion. So we've cleaned up the lockout. Next is the lowering phase. A lot of people, what they end up doing is just arching their back and finding the lowering portion of the lift from their spine, which is no bueno when trying to keep tension on the ass. What we want to try and do is maintain that belt buckle up position as we lower through the range. It's only going to keep tension on the glutes and making it easy to drive back up into the next rep. We are available for online coaching. So if you want to get coached by one of us, head to the link in the bio and we can sort you out, maybe build that fat dumpy. Just make sure you like the video, and if these hip thrust tips helped you out, drop a comment for the boys.